Before we dive into creating progressive web apps, let's go over the basic structure and workings of a PWA. Firstly, it's important to understand that PWAs are, at their core, websites as we know them. In order to turn a standard website into a PWA then, we add a couple of layers. The first is what's called a service worker. Service workers, not to be confused with web workers, are standalone scripts that manage the web page. They run completely independently to the rest of the site and really act like a client-side proxy object. A key role of a service worker is to cache content, and for that it uses the new Caches API. This API provides easy client-side storage for any resource on the page. All this new PWA technology gets added by means of progressive enhancement, or feature detection, meaning if the browser doesn't support any of these features, the site will continue to work as per normal. Now, having a service worker with a cache is great, but in order for a web page to be considered a progressive web app, it also has to be designed with app-like behavior as the number one priority. So what does this mean? Well, it needs to be responsive, or mobile first, so its design matches that of a native app. It also needs to be fast and run smoothly on any device. When dealing with mobile apps, we also have to assume that data usage is important. So a good PWA should only ever go to the network when it absolutely has to. And of course, it has to work offline, at least to some degree, even if that means failing gracefully. Taking all these considerations into account, the concept we'll be dealing with then is what's referred to as an app shell. This simply involves abstracting as much content away from the app's layout and user interface, so all those static assets can stay cached, and we only ever have to have the dynamic content load from the network. The final addition to a web page or website is an app manifest. This is simply a file that specifies the launch icon, splash screen, etc., and it turns a simple web page into its very own entity on the user's device. So, as you can see, there's quite a few moving parts to building PWAs. But the great thing is that all of this can be added without needing to go all out. And when done correctly, will not only create an amazing native experience, but also leave the standard site perfectly in place for consumption via any browser.